evening. Welcome to the January 22nd regularly scheduled Valley View School Board meeting. I would ask that you silence your phones and rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Vice President Zach. It's not on here, but Member Sutherland, could you read the board mission statement? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it is. Affirmation.
Our mission is to empower every learner to be college, career, and life ready and to develop, grow, and achieve as a productive citizen.
Thank you. Ms. Kinder, the agenda.
Thank you, President Quigley. I'd like to ask the board to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Ayes. Have it. Student and staff recognition. Illinois Music Association. IMEA.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Kinder, President Quigley, and members of the community for coming out tonight in this treacherous weather. We appreciate it. My name is Chuck Merrick. I'm a proud assistant principal and activity director at Bolingbrook High School, and I'm here to we're here to recognize some amazing all-state students. First, for our Illinois Music Education Association all-state choir member, and I want to bring up Mr. Fisher, our choir director, who's going to say some things about this amazing young lady. One of over 600 students from the state of Illinois selected to sing this weekend at the IMAC All-State production down in Peoria, and I was just told she was the highest ranked singer in the region that Bolingbrook is in. So here's Mr. Fisher, who will introduce Ms. Ruiz.
Good evening, and thanks for having us tonight. I'm Larry Fisher. I'm one of the choir directors at Bolingbrook High School. And this year, the Bolingbrook Music Department is pleased to announce that Jamie Ruiz has qualified for our All-State Music Festival this year. Part of the qualifying process is Jamie had to audition in November in one of the 9 regions of Illinois, where she had to prepare some music, some scales, and chords, and she made the first cut of this along with some of our other students and was able to perform in November at our district festival. And they got together for the full day and worked together as a choir to perform, and we found out that she was the top scoring in her section for that, which qualified her to not only go to All-State but to be in the honors choir at All-State. And so Jamie will be traveling down to Peoria on Thursday for 2 full days of rehearsal. Thursday's rehearsal goes from about 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. And they'll have a rehearsal on the ice rink, or a performance on the ice rink on Saturday in a choir of 300 students. So Jamie Ruiz has been in choir at VHS for 4 years, and I remember her knocking my socks off for her first audition as an incoming freshman. And apparently I told her mom that first year during conferences that I thought she was going to make All-State, and here she is. So Jamie's not only an accomplished singer who's served as our magical queen this year, but she's also an accomplished pianist and currently plays in our jazz bands. So we're extremely proud of Jamie and know that she will honor the Raiders in Peoria this week. So congratulations, Jamie.
By all
Yes,
means,
I'm back.
please continue.
Luckily, I'm back. I'd like to bring up, well, let me tell a quick 10-second story here. About a year and a half ago, one of our social studies teachers here and coaches at Bolingbrook High School came to me and said, hey, I want to start a flag football team. I was like, all right, cool, let's do that. And he pretty much took it from there with the help of the Chicago Bears, who sponsored a lot of area programs to get their program started. He put out the feelers, did like a spring camp, had an overwhelming turnout from the girls. I think we had over 60 girls on the team last year in our first year of flag football. and they had an amazing year. They had an undefeated regular season, and we were lucky enough there's 56 all-state flag football players in the state. We had 2 of them out of over 2,000 girls, and I fully expect to be here several times in the future to recognize state champions. I think this program is going to go a long way, and the IHSA recently chose to turn it into or make it a regular full-fledged sport for next year, so it's going to be exciting. So I'm going to introduce Mr. Jordan Hovell, our flag football coach. He's going to tell you about the 2 all-state girls. Thank you.
Good evening. First off, I'd like to thank Mr. Chuck Merrick, because like he said, it was a random Thursday in February. I came to him with this idea. Had no idea what I was getting myself into. I've coached tackle football for a very long time, and flag football is nowhere near what I thought it was going to be. So coming to him and having an amazing support behind him, I mean, he was checking in weekly, almost daily actually, and I just want to make sure I got some good recognition for him. But thank you guys to the board. So I'm lucky enough to be able to speak about these 2 young ladies. Unfortunately, one of them couldn't be here. She also plays varsity basketball. But these 2, they're not just athletes, they're pioneers. So girls flag football is a new concept, not only to Illinois, but across the country. So currently, about 4 years ago and recently, all the states are starting to pick it up, places like California, Florida, and we're a little behind the 8 ball. But we've been fortunate enough in Illinois where the Bears have actually started this 3 years ago. So we came into this late. We're hoping things were going to go well, and got a little worried because we started off our season, our summer camp, we had 13 girls, and you need 7 on each side of the ball to play. So I looked at my coaches, and I told them, I said, this is either going to be really good or really bad this year with 13 girls. And, we chuckled because we knew more would come out, and luckily enough, both Kristen and Saya, who's not here right now, came out first day of school, and when I talk about world changers, they were world changers. So again, unfortunately, Saya was not able to be here, but she was one of actually 7 all-conference members on our team. So our conference consisted of 6 schools, and based on wins, we ended up going undefeated in the regular season, so we got 7 all-conference players with wins plus 1 extra. Saya was one of the first people brought up in this whole conversation because she was genuinely feared by other players in the conference. They were scared of her, and she's only a sophomore. One of the things that's amazing about Saya is she's just a freak athlete. So when she lines up on the field, if a ball's going up in the air, she played receiver. 9 times out of 10, she's coming down with it, and she has no regard for human life with whoever's on the bottom of her. So it was amazing. Girls were terrified. I had coaches texting me because I was also our league commissioner constantly, hey, how can I stop this girl? And I would just send back the thumbs up, good luck. As I don't even know how to stop her. I mean, I call the defense. I don't even know what I'm doing. But just a little bit more about Saya. Again, she's a sophomore. She's been a varsity basketball player as well for both seasons. She amassed 700 total yards of offense with 9 touchdowns, and that's over 7 games. So she averaged over 100 yards per game. And our halves are 2 20-minute halves. So it's very quick football games. So that means she's being very productive. She, again, was all-conference and received 3rd team all-state honors, which means she placed in the top 40 by coaches' vote of the top girls in the state, again, out of 2,000 total girls. So, again, she did an amazing job. Hopefully get to see her come back these next 2 years and ball out and be the #1 girl in the state. I mean, a lot of officials were very excited about her coming back, and other teams are still very scared of her. So we're excited, but again, I just want to give you a little bit about Saya. With us tonight, actually, is Kristen Johnson. Kristen's actually been here before. Kristen is not only an amazing flag football player, she is also an amazing track star. Placing these last year, all-state track runner, and hopefully this year doing it again. That's the goal. So again, Kristen, when we first got her, she shows up first day. She played running back. In flag football, it's a lot of throwing. It's not just running. She couldn't catch a cold if her life depended on it. We were very concerned that, hey, if we had to throw the ball to Kristen, things are not going to go well for us because Kristen couldn't catch anything. And we still loved her for it. It was okay. We had no intentions of wanting to throw her the ball. It was okay. Just give her the ball and run as fast as she could. That changed on the very first play of our program's history and the season. So we were fortunate enough to be able to host our first game ever. First play, no joke, we're on the 20-yard line. Random, just let me throw it down to Kristen. I went up and went, oh, goodness, this isn't going to go well. And she catches it, And in less than a second, she is in the end zone, 80 yards, touchdown, with not a single player or official within 20 yards of her. Blazing speed. And that wouldn't be the only time she would do this all season. She would do it actually the next 3 straight games. So over the first play of the next 4 games of our season, she would score on the very first touch of the game. So just little stats on Kristen. She had well over almost 800 yards total offense and 12 total touchdowns. Not only was she named All-State, she was named All-Conference, being the #1 points getter in the conference. She was named Offensive MVP in the conference, Program MVP, and then receiving first-team All-State honors, ranking her in the top 10 in the state of Illinois out of 1,000 girls. So I've been super fortunate, super proud to be able to coach Kristen and Saya as well, and as well as the rest of the team. Again, 62 girls. We expect to be back here next year with a couple more, hopefully. But I can't say enough about Kristen, though. She's been a leader the moment she stepped on the field. Again, never seen a football probably, never played with football, I'm assuming. And she was, again, another one that every time I talk to any coaches or officials, the first thing they'd say is, hey, how do we catch her? I'm like, I have no idea. I don't got an answer for you. Good luck. Figure it out. Well, hopefully, if you figure it out, let me know. So again, I just wanted to thank you guys for allowing us to come up here and congratulate Kristen as well as Sai, even though she couldn't be here. So Kristen, congratulations on making first team All-State. Super proud of you and hopefully excited to hear what's going to be coming next for you. Thank you.
All right, moving down the agenda, the Illinois Elementary School Association 8th grade girls basketball state qualifiers from Jane Adams. 3rd place, come on.
Hello, I'm Christina Miller, the 8th grade girls basketball coach. For those that don't know, we actually were here last year too, so it's pretty exciting. I played sports my whole life. I'm sure some of you guys did. It's pretty rare for an athlete to go their entire athletic career and get to state. So for these girls to get to state, not only 2, but they got to state for 2 teams last year is pretty impressive. We were undefeated in the regular season. Most of our games were victory of 20 points, if not more. And the team that we eventually did lose to in our second round of state was the team that won state. So we only lost 1 game all season, and we were able to end our season in 3rd place, which is the highest Jane Addams girls basketball has ever placed in the history of the school. So I'm super proud of these girls. They showed a lot of grit the last few years. Some of the girls that started when they were in 6th grade, I think we won 3 games, maybe 3 games. So by the time now, some of them are 8th graders. They've obviously shown a lot of growth and just personal grit and leadership. So I'm really proud of these girls, and I'm gonna announce them now. Leilani Aguilera, who's actually not here. Janice Akins. Yeah, just shake their hands. Bryce Delamorte, who is also not here. Ryan Evans. Mariah Lofton. How was it? Chloe Reeves. Maya Robinson. And Daniela Smith, who is also not here. Thank you, guys.
And if you haven't been to one of those games, and I have, they get up and down the court pretty fast for 8th graders. And I'm sure that there's somebody over at the high school who's probably drooling to have some of those girls come on the team pretty soon, which is the what? #1 ranked team in the state right now at BHS. So, oh, while I'm sitting here, it's always nice to welcome an old school board member up there, Mike Evans and the Evans family, your menagerie. Welcome. Righty. Moving down the agenda, where are we at? Illinois School, we did that one. Spotlight video, here we go.
Yes, we have a spotlight video of one of our amazing teachers, Miss Katie Daly, 1st grade teacher at Jamie McGee Elementary School.
Today, we read The Gingerbread Girl. And we talked about the story elements in the gingerbread girl. What are our story elements that we've been talking about? Michaela? Setting. What is the setting, Michaela? What is the definition of a setting? Where the story takes place. Pat yourself on the back. I was really inspired by my kindergarten teacher, actually. She made me love school. She was so dedicated. She made learning fun. And, you know, I kind of thought to myself, I want to do that one day. I initially never thought I would be a teacher, though. I started college as a business major, so I was in business. And then after that, I just kind of realized that wasn't my passion. And so I was a camp counselor for a while, and I loved kids. I loved working with kids. And, you know, I kind of went back to that feeling as a kindergartner, and I'm like, I want to touch students' lives like my kindergarten teacher touched mine. Think about what happened that kind of changed her feeling. So she went from feeling brave and confident that she can do anything, and then something happened that changed that feeling. What happened that changed that feeling, Navia?
A fox came out.
A fox came. So she went from feeling brave and confident to what, everyone? Worried. Scared. The number one thing I consider when prepping and planning is, you know, my students' needs. That comes first. And at the beginning of the year, I take pride into getting to know the students for who they are first before, you know, I get to know their academics. And so I'm really big on building relationships because, you know, if you get to know their interests, you get to know their backgrounds a little bit more, you're going to be able to plan a more successful lesson because you know your students. I'm always reflecting. After every day I teach, I reflect. What can I do better? What do these students need? So every day I'm, you know, changing things if I need to, you know, because every year a lesson plan, it doesn't work for every set of students. So you just really have to tailor it to meet the needs of your individual students. And part of that is building relationships, getting to know their interests, taking the time to listen to them and value them is so key, because then the rest of that just kind of flows in.
Compare means when something happens is the same.
It's the same. Way to go, Ethan! Compare means Arturo.
Compare means something you are telling how they are alike or.
Absolutely. Way to use your resources.
Way to go, Arturo!
First grade is all about interactive modeling. That is like key for these little ones. They need to see the process happen first so they know what is expected of them. I'm really big on I do, we do, you do. So like the gradual release method. You know, so if they see that, okay, this is what I'm expected to do, the teacher models a few problems first or a few things first, models the expectations, then after we do group practice together, because then they see the change happening, they practice the change as a class, and then after that, they're able to apply that and do it independently. It is just so amazing to see the growth from when they first walk in. You know, they come from kindergarten, then they have that long time off. You don't know what they're coming into, but then you see their skills and you're like, okay, we'll work with it. And then to see the growth, like we're at the end of quarter 2, and it just, it blows my mind. It is amazing, because I end up feeling proud of myself, because and I never realized that a job can do that. And that's what this job does. It's rewarding, it makes me feel proud, and I love what I do every day. Truly, I can say it's just really rewarding.
All right, moving down the agenda. Mr. Renich, the treasurer's report.
Thank you. 6.1 Treasury Action Report for the month of December includes the normal schedule of financial reports, balance sheet, summary of revenue, expenditures, interim obligations, and debt service payments totaling $12,628,694.49 for your approval.
Is there a motion? Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, a roll call vote would be in order.
Member Campbell? Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Sutherland?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
And President Quigley.
Yes. Greenwich.
6.2, scheduled bills. The scheduled bills for the month of January, we have 6 funds totaling bills payable of $3,090,039.89 for your approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, a roll call vote, please.
Member Sutherland?
Yes.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Mr. Renich.
In your packet, you have 6.3, the summary of investments for the month of December, along with 6.4, state funding update, 6.5, property tax received, and 6.6, all schools trust account activity. This is an informational agenda item.
Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Renich? Not, we'll move down the agenda. Consent agenda, Ms. Kinder.
Yes, sir, we have 6 items that we're seeking the board's approval on underneath consent. 7.1, board meeting minutes, December 13th, 2023. 7.2, executive session meeting minutes, December 13th, 2023. 7.3, gifts to Irene King Elementary School and the district libraries. 7.4, the FY 22-23 audit. 7.5, student activity contract, Jamie McGee Elementary Smensels. And 7.6, trips for Romeoville High School and Bolingbrook High School.
Is there a motion? Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. I just have one comment. The audit is in there, but there were no findings, correct, Mr. Renich?
The district had an unqualified opinion, which means it's a clean audit, yes.
Thank you very much. That's the CPA in him coming out. We have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Sutherland?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Moving down the agenda, liaison reports, any and all from my right. She got her light up first.
To the buzzer. Over at Wilco Career Center is the open house will be April 11th from 6 to 8 p.m. So those 8th graders that are going to be coming into freshman year get an opportunity to go over there. And then coming up Saturday on January 27th from 9:30 to 11:30, we have a Teen Achievers and Young Adult Jobs and Training Workshop at Joliet Junior College, 1215 Hobart Road in Joliet. So there's an opportunity to grow with our union workers and stuff out there for those people that are interested in going into Wilco. Thank you.
Yes, I want to thank Superintendent Kendrick for joining me. We went to the legislative breakfast, and it was very interesting. She got to share a lot of the things about our districts and the concerns that we have with our legislators, so I want to thank her for that, and if she want to share input. And then I was so excited. I was shopping at Walmart today, checking out, and secondary transition students was there, and that was an excitement for them to be making their transaction and come up and to speak to me, so I'm excited.
On the left, the Finance Committee will continue to meet. We will have a balanced budget before this is all said and done with. We've gone through some, interesting conversations, and continue to do so. And I think we got one scheduled sometime in February, so we'll be working towards that, and with an anticipated final budget document from the Finance Committee to, March, April, whenever we do it. And that's it. Moving down the agenda. Wrong page here. Any audience participation? Or is anybody in the audience who wishes to address the board this evening? If so, please come forward, state your name, and limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. Seeing none, hearing none, we are moving down the agenda. Action, Human Resources, Ms. Nash.
Yes, Action Report 10.1 is our consolidated action report for your consideration. We're seeking approval on all items as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
I actually do have a question, President Quigley, in reference to it, because I was looking at that action item, and I obviously want to thank our Assistant Superintendent, because it just seems, Dr. Nash said, that's a lot of work to fill a lot of these positions that, folks leaving and going on leave of absence and things of that nature. So great job in getting those fulfilled and processing those. So thank you.
All right, if there's no further comments, roll call vote, please.
Member Sutherland?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Abstain.
President Quigley?
Yes. Mr. Renich, 11.1, renewal collection services contract and other stuff.
Thank you. This was brought as an informational report in the December board meeting. The district has a systematic approach to collecting student fees. As a last result, the district uses an agency to help support this approach. The district has been using Transworld as an agency to help facilitate the fee collection process for over 10 years. It is important to note that the district does have a system in place for those families that are having challenges or facing hardships. So based on that, the administration is recommending that the Board of Education approve the renewal contract with Transworld in the amount of $83,500 as presented.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Question, in reference to this contract, what percentage do they actually collect? I mean,
So they guarantee 200% of their fee that they will collect. So by investing $83,500, they guarantee that they will at least collect double that.
and have we seen that?
Yes, we have, and
Perfect.
more. But one member has asked for a report of exactly how much we've been able to recoup, and I can share that with Superintendent Kinder, and perhaps she can put that out to the whole board in her weekly update.
Excellent, thank you, sir.
Welcome.
All right, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further comments, roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Sutherland?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
And President Quigley?
Yes. Wilco fixed asset donation.
This year, the district had purchased 3 new vehicles, 2 driver's ed vehicles and 1 maintenance vehicle. The administration would like to donate the replaced vehicles to Wilco for their auto service education program. All 3 vehicles have reached their useful life and have diminutive value. The 3 vehicles proposed to be donated are listed in your packet, which contains the year, the make, model, and mileage. I worked with the district's attorneys to develop a vehicle sales agreement, which has been included in your packet. So the administration is recommending that the Board of Education approve the vehicle sales agreement for the 3 vehicles to Wilco as presented.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Go ahead.
John, for being on the board with Wilco, with Steve and I, we thank you wholeheartedly for giving those kids will use them on their shop quite a bit.
So for clarification, what they're going to do is the shop down there, they'll take these things apart, put them back together, fix them, clean them, do whatever they do. They may do it multiple times. Several years ago, I know somebody who runs a golf course, and they were looking for golf carts for one of the schools, and he got his company to sell for like $1 a golf cart, and then Wilco, in turn, I got somebody to donate the paint, and Wilco they took the thing apart. The kids, they gave him a great project, and as the guy that runs the body shop there told me, he goes, it gives them something to do rather than work on car fenders, and they painted up a beautiful golf cart that is still used at Bolingbrook High School, and they tricked it out for the baseball team. It's got bats holding up the roof and everything. It's very nice. So, but that's the kind of stuff that this is going to. And John didn't say it, but the oldest of those vehicles was a 2004 Chevy Silverado and 2008 Chevy Impala. So these, as you said, they've come to the end of their useful life. Let the kids at Wilco take them over.
And one of them didn't start the other day. So it'll be a great project for them to at least try to get going and running. So
Otherwise, we're paying to have them towed off, right?
Right.
All right, thank you. We have a roll, we have a vote, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sutherland?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. And last but not least, certainly the Romeoville High School sewer lining and repairs.
At the October 16, 2023 board meeting, an informational report was presented identifying this as one of the several capital improvement projects contemplated to start this spring or this summer. The existing sanitary sewer at Romeoville High School have been showing signs of failure for the past few years. Mr. Lopez has been able to secure a $500,000 grant to partially pay for this project. So the administration is recommending that the Board of Education approve the amendment to the master contract for construction management of F.A. Passion to perform the sewer lining and repairs at Romeoville High School not to exceed $861,305.
Your motion?
So move.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion?
Question. I actually want to thank Mr. Lopez for getting that grant for us and helping us to reduce that cost internally. So is he here? Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Appreciate your assistance on getting us that grant, sir.
If there's no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Member Sutherland?
Yes.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Ms. Kinder, student due process.
Yes, action report 12.1 is seeking approval on student due process case A as presented.
Our motion? Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. A roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Sutherland?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
And President Quigley?
Yes. ESSA.
Okay, action report 12.2, Every Student Succeeds Act School Improvement Coordinator Oakview. This is related to school improvement efforts and funding received by the Illinois State Board of Education to Oakview Elementary School to supplement their school improvement efforts that are already taking place. And per the ISB direction, a portion of these funds must be allocated for needs assessment and support related to supplementing school improvement processes. So we are seeking the board's approval to enter into this scope of work with the American Institutes for Research, AIR.
Motion?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion on this?
Why the need for this particular coordinator?
So this is related to the fact that ISB, Illinois State Board of Education, issues designations to schools, and that's based on multiple indicators of performance. In this case, there is, in the 2017-2018 school year, there was one category of students that was identified as needing additional support, and that was students with disabilities. So because of that, additional support was provided and additional requirements related to planning are provided to help really support that group, and then ISB is providing additional funding to support that effort.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Member Sutherland?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
And President Quigley?
Yes. Ms. Kinder, Superintendent's Information Report.
Okay, we'll get that loaded up on the screen. And certainly, definitely want to give kudos to many of our staff, our students, and our parents who were very adaptive in dealing with the weather conditions, which we're probably dealing with right now. Our maintenance team and transportation teams continue to do a phenomenal job in making sure that we can have safe school for our learners and our students can get here safely, and also our students and staff can be safe when they're on the grounds. And then, of course, in the event that we had the e-learning day, we know our families do a tremendous amount of adapting to make sure their learners are supported. So Winter Warriors are pictured on the screen, including that top picture of our some students at Oakview who helped out some neighbors with shoveling driveways and clearing that path. And then you see a glimpse of e-learning. Definitely not a place we want to return to, but it can be okay for a day. So we make the best of it and thank everybody for working through it. I do get some questions regarding school decision-making. Is school closed? Will there be e-learning? Of course, we will use all communication platforms, and you can find more information online, but rest assured that you would be notified the night before or the morning of no later than 5:45 a.m. And of course, that's a last resort because we have teams who do all possible to make sure from our villages in clearing the roads to on our Valley View campuses. Just wanted to mention a couple county and regional collaboration things that took place in the past couple days. Member Campbell mentioned the Illinois Association of School Boards Three Rivers Division Legislative Breakfast that we had the opportunity to attend with many of our local legislators. And then on the Friday before that, we had the Will County School Safety Summit at Joliet Junior College. And there's our very own Dr. Carter Larry, our Director of Student Safety, School of Safety, and who's the outgoing president finishing his term with the Northern Illinois School Safety Administrator Association. And it was a great opportunity for county-wide collaboration, emergency preparedness. And these are just examples, just recent ones of how we continue to work with state, county, regional partners to work through and plan for the challenges that are facing schools. And so it's definitely an effort at all levels, and I know many of our board members and administrators play a really important role in keeping connected on all of these levels. And that, of course, brings it down to the school and community local partnerships. In the upcoming 2 weeks, we have a community leaders meeting. We have union and administration collaborative workshop where we have administrators and union leaders coming back together to formally check in and work on our planning and collaboration efforts. We have parent cafes and learning events. We have one this week that are being facilitated by parents who are facilitating parent cafes. We have one this week on the 25th at Woodview Elementary School, and that, of course, is open to all parents in the Woodview and larger surrounding school community. And it was what you see on the bottom right is a group of parents who were being trained as facilitators for these parent cafes, and then they go and facilitate these roundtable discussions and cafes with other groups of parents, and it's proving to be a truly successful model, and our parents are really stepping up and taking on these additional leadership roles in addition to their already busy lives and being parents. So we're super appreciative of that. And then next, on February 14th, we have a community partners meeting, and that's a expansive network of community partners throughout our communities that are all plugging into the school system to support students and families and needs, and it's a truly dynamic and powerful collaboration. So all of that happening on all levels, and sometimes you don't often see that, but I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge it because there's so many different partners that are really doing so much work to make sure that our students and our families and our staff are supported. Coming right around the bend, we have 5 Essentials survey. When we get notice of that from the Illinois State Board of Education, we will certainly inform our communities, and it is so important that you provide us your input and your voice, and our schools do use this in their school improvement efforts in addition to our Panorama survey. And believe it or not, the kindergarten enrollment is coming up. This year's theme is Super Squad Assemble, so those awesome superheroes that you see in the bottom right corner are current James Mitchum Early Childhood Center students who are getting ready to go to kindergarten, and we will be welcoming the class of 2037. So spread the word if you know a 5-year-old or soon to be 5-year-old, because we will be ready for them. And some important upcoming dates as we get closer to ending January and jumping right into February. And that concludes the update.
Thank you. Let's see, Superintendent Information Report, check that off. Wait a minute, Board Policy, that's next.
Yep, Board Policy 240 is seeking an update to the policy related to board member qualifications, and the specific update that we are seeking is the language to allow the board to annually appoint one or more student members to serve in an advisory capacity. And the students will not have any voting privileges, and they may not attend executive sessions of the board. But as we had shared in previous board meeting in December, and from our collaboration with our students at the state conference, this is a really great idea that we're bringing forward, and we think that the students can bring a lot to support our effort as a district and bring a lot of perspective. And so we'd like to first bring forward this policy, and then if approved at the next board meeting, we will then move forward with putting the system in place to bring that to life.
Okay. Is this an action item? This is information?
No, that's just information. It'll be
Sorry.
coming back at the next board meeting. And then 13.3 is also information for review. It is the Board of Education meeting schedule for 24-25. If you have questions or input, or if any board member has questions or input, please let Shelley or I know prior to the next board meeting. Thank you.
If you have any questions on the calendar, look at it and get a hold of the superintendent and the calendar committee. Thank you very much. Legal services report.
No report tonight.
Association report, AFT. Seeing none, hearing none. Valley View Council, ditto. Valley View Office Personnel Council, same thing. Moving down the agenda, and any old business before the board this evening? Any new business before the board this evening? As always, freedom of information requests are kept by Mr. Blaney. He's in the back nodding his head vigorously. Yes. And any announcements by the board from my left? Secretary.
I just have one. I'd like to thank John Renich for all the work that he's been doing with the levy things, the audit that's going through. As a mom of 2 accountants, I know that you work very hard, more than just the hours that you put in, so we appreciate everything that you do and your team. Thank you.
Be from the right.
I just want to say congratulations to RHS Girls Cheer for their down in state placement. Thanks.
So I just wanted to acknowledge, and Rachel mentioned it, but the people who keep the streets and the sidewalks and get the buildings open, what have you. I got a phone call from a parent, said, how come the buildings, how come school's closed? I said, well, it's minus 30 degrees at the wind chill. Aren't the buildings ready to go? And I said, well, we're having one building that we're having trouble keeping at what would be a comfortable level. But everything else, yeah, we could open the buildings, but we're not going to have kids walk when it's minus 30 degrees. Keep in mind, we have 9,000 kids who walk to school every day and back. And it doesn't say if you're in kindergarten or first grade, it says if you live within a certain distance, you don't get bused. So, but the folks who do those things to keep the buildings open and what have you, thank you very much, because it was miserable out there. We all know it, and hopefully we have put that behind us for the rest of the year. But I do want to say, be very careful going home this evening and tomorrow, because there is going to be ice on the roads, despite the best efforts of our communities to keep these streets salted and so on and so forth. So that's my comments.
President Quigley, I actually want to second that, because I will tell you, I did see those individuals out there cleaning, taking that snow off those sidewalks, our parking lots. I mean, I obviously lived on the street here and I see that. But to your point, not only the walkers, but even just the students who take the bus at those bus stops, at negative 30 degrees, it's very dangerous. And I remember having this conversation with Superintendent Mitchum when I think we were like at negative 52. And folks were complaining that why didn't we close the schools? But it's for the safety of our students in our community. But thank you to our staff who try to keep our schools open, and we know that you guys are trying hard. So.
And the beauty of e-learning. So, any other announcements by the administration?
Can I just follow up on the 2 comments made by President Quigley and Member Sikora? It wouldn't have been possible to have that audit report without the efficient and dedicated services of the finance team, which is led by Lindsay Giannata. What you don't know is, or you do know, is that we were balancing 2 financial systems as we were going through a major conversion. And for Lindsay to complete not only what we do as a CAFR, which is a comprehensive annual financial report, which is above and beyond what most school districts do, but she did it in a timely manner and met all the the requirements. And so thank you, Lindsay, for doing that. The other thing that I just want to acknowledge, and Superintendent Kinder touched on this, was I attended the same safety summit that she did in Joliet on Friday, and I want to acknowledge and also thank Mr. Carter, Larry, for his leadership as the outgoing president, but I also attended his presentation on de-escalation, and it was well received by many people that attended, and I just sometimes think we need to acknowledge all the good things that our staff are doing for that. So thank you for that moment.
Can I just ask a question? And the audit findings were, again, what did you say, John?
It's called an unqualified opinion.
Which means we did
Which means
excellent.
they didn't qualify the opinion or have a finding or anything. It's a clean audit is what it's called.
Excellent. It's a good audit. I
Yes.
just want to make sure that
Yes.
the community understands that we had a solid audit. Okay, thank you, sir.
Without any further business up here, we are going to adjourn to executive session, if I can get a motion. Pursuant to sections 1 and 11 of State Code ILCS 05. That will conclude all of our public business for this evening. We have a motion, and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Have a good and safe evening. Thank you.